And they're off, and Matt, straight on to that overhead squat.
Yeah, straight out the gates, 20 overhead squats to be seen too. It'll be interesting to see what kind of breakup strategy we see here.
Tammy Taylor in view right now, moving very nicely, Matt, now. Interesting to see how they're going to break this up in the beginning. Again, not a particularly light load. Looks like Tammy's going for 10. Nope, definitely going for a set bigger than 10.
Yeah, we'll see. We also might see, a little bit of strategy come here where a couple of athletes may actually stay unbroken through this.
It's like
Get to the row and then allow themselves as much time as possible.
It's like Tammy's coach advised her to go unbroken. Matt, do you have anything to do with that?
I do not. She has been given free rein to see how she feels going into this. But I do know that Tammy's got her head screwed on with her. And, she's got that mindset of this is the final day and she's here to just leave it all out on the floor.
So let's talk this through, Matt, in the event that you are a coach and you are listening in. So now your athletes come out, they've banged out 20 unbroken overhead squats. Heart rate's a little high. You want to save the grip. What's your advice on the rower here?
Relax that grip, number one, and drive hard on the legs coming into this row. If you are pulling on that handle, using your shoulders and your forearms, a little bit of your upper back as well, I think that's where we might see athletes come undone, especially moving into the very grip-intensive movements. Someone like Tammy here, a little bit of a heavier and taller athlete, so kind of able just to drive hard on those legs and move back. Very strong in the shoulders as well, so probably confident in herself to hit those 20 unbroken overhead squats, get them out the way, and just carry on.
Absolutely. It really is an interesting piece of programming because you're going to want to go unbroken on that, Matt, because let's be honest, the idea of potentially snatching that barbell for a second time or cleaning, jerking, putting it overhead, again, really tough mental battle that.
Yeah, just, almost wasted time, if anything else. If you're comfortable and if you feel strong in the moment between breaking this into 2 sets and going one unbroken set, give it a bash if you feel comfy.
All right, Theo, just approaching the 3-minute mark in this first one. Interested to see, once we get off the rower, just how these ladies approach that. Firstly, the handstand, firstly, the new standard of rope climbs, but the pirouettes, Matt, the great undoing of so many yesterday. Two athletes in the center of the park now finishing up their portion of the row and about to transition through to the next portion of this workout. Tammy Taylor right up there right now.
That's Tammy Taylor and Jessica Skinner that are finished off with this. Jess Skinner making light work of that first handstand pirouette. Just crossing the line. And there we go, Tammy right behind her.
So note that the transition between those two zones is a little bit larger than it was yesterday. Athletes only needed to move from block to block. Now athletes need to transition a little further.
Both these athletes looking very strong. Tammy just coming down for the first time. Jess Skinner coming down. And just the amount of control that you need to have on your hands to be doing this. Kicking up, walking, a set distance right in the middle, just stopping yourself. There you go, Tammy Taylor in lane number 6 on your screens.
Yeah, Matt, it's such an interesting event to watch, and I think we're learning as we're going along here with what the intended stimulus
and Tammy
is.
Across the line.
Like how to pace it, how to throttle it, how to go sendy, how to throttle back, because there's just so many moving parts here.
Here we've got Carla van Staden on your screen, and an amazing effort from Carla yesterday. We saw she did struggle quite a bit with the snatches. that final set of 8 snatches going into her 800-meter run, just that barbell a little on the heavy side for Carla, but then keeping in mind it was 3 kgs above her body weight.
Absolutely, and then getting asked to do that 8 times.
But Carla really putting on an amazing show for us this weekend. Her first semifinals appearance.
Here we go, Matt. We're about to look at the stand, and I will notice the white line at the bottom of your, or at the top of your screen there. Athletes are required to have both hands on the rope at the bottom or at the descent. So that's going to be an interesting stimulus, especially because it's time under tension, maximize time under tension. So here we go. Let's see how these ladies adapt. Watch they approach the white line near the top.
Okay, Jess Skinner looking pretty good, pretty comfortable going up.
Unfortunately, no rep there for Tammy Taylor. A really difficult one. This is, Matt. There's so much time under tension. You're going to hear that a lot this week in time under tension. It is a significant amount of time.
Right at the back of your screen there right now, we've got Inge von Mansberg and Carla van Staden. I don't know, I feel like we could expect something quite exciting from Carla van Staden on the rope. Potentially, on the flip side, yesterday her smaller frame struggling a little bit under that set barbell weight. But, it could help today, especially with, those standard heights of particularly the starting position of that rope, that tape line on the rope.
Absolutely, Matt.
Down on your screen at the moment on the rower, we've got Maxine Smith.
That, unfortunately, Matt, by the new standard is a no rep. Both hands need to be above the white marker. So a really tricky standard, Matt.
Yeah, there we go. It just changes kind of everything about the rope that we have been used to. And here we go, Carla van Staden going for her first legless rope climb.
Matt, I think you called it. She's looking incredibly comfortable. Now look on the descent. She cannot fireman pole down. Both hands need to have shown control at the bottom of that white line.
It seemed like Carla, unfortunately, just got a no rep there, just dropping off the rope. Must be centimeters above that bottom white line. There she is, grabbing as much chalk as she can. You can see in the back left of your screen, and just lathering that rope in chalk.
Yeah, Matt, I went out on the floor this morning just to try this one out. Thankfully, those ropes don't feel brand new. Nothing worse than trying to ascend and descend a brand new rope.
Just covered in oil.
Absolutely. Again, tell us who you are rooting for in the comments. We are watching a Tammy Taylor getting some love out in the comments. Again, M and Justin Holiday. Quite a bit of band on the chats yesterday for Justin Holiday, Matt.
There we go, Carla van Staden going for her second attempt. Trying to get her first successful rep. This is all in the descent. Her hands need to be below that tape line. And just
Matt, it's tough.
in the exact same spot.
It is, and you can see on her ascent, she's actually one of the more proficient athletes on a rope.
Yeah.
But it's a really, really, really tough one. Everything you do before the rope depends how you ascend and descend that rope. It is a insurmountable amount of time under tension.
Right over there in lane number 3, we've got Maxine Smith going for her third and final handstand pirouette. Getting to the rope. In lane number 4, Asma Diruish. Still just stuck at the top of the screen there. You could see she was taking a little bit longer with those overhead squats. But Maxine Smith is through, completed with her final handstand pirouette on the way to the rope. 5.5 minutes left on the clock, so still plenty of time for these athletes to try and get as far through this workout as possible. As you can see, a whole lot of relaxing and recovery coming on. And just behind Maxine, you can see Asma just chipping away at her row. And Jess Skinner just completing a rope climb to standard. Here you can see Maxine Smith looking super efficient on the way up this rope. Coming down, it's all about the descent here. Looking so strong. And that was a textbook rep. I think Boz is going to be happy with that.
Absolutely. That's exactly how you want to demonstrate the movement standards at its best level. Now here's a tricky one, Matt. One hand above, so the top portion done. Hold on to that rope because you could see if she was accredited with that rep.
Here we go. Carla van Staden going for another attempt. Again, you can see she's very efficient moving up the rope. Just that fatigue setting in right towards the top.
The first portion done. Let's hope she can wrap this up now. Hold on for dear life on the descent.
Those feet need to come up. And she gets the rep.
Got it.
Carla van Staden with the rep in the bag. You can just see how much tension these athletes are under coming down that rope. Maxine Smith looking so strong on these rope climbs.
This might be a second one, Matt.
Just able to hold that ulcer position. And she
there you
gets
go. She
rep.
locks it up.
There is no question as to whether that rep is, on the fence or not. She is displaying the full movement standard.
Unfortunately, on the opposite end of the park, Asma Dirouish currently still... Oh, there we go. She's gotten her overhead squats and her row done, and she's about to transition through to these handstand pirouettes.
Just holding on to her elbow there. Looks like she might be suffering a little bit with some elbow pain.
I'm loving this, Matt, in the comments section now. Good mate Stretch getting some advice in the chats here. Can someone tell the commentator on the floor to please pull his right pant leg down on his track pants?
Well, that seemed to catch on as a trend yesterday, Kent. I'm pretty sure...
Mine was an accident. I just sat here for too long and I needed to scratch my calf.
I'm pretty sure I caught you down on the floor with the one leg up.
Very, very, very shortly.
I thought I was missing out on a fashion trend here or something. I wanted to get involved.
Matt, I'm going to give you some good advice, which you've not gotten from me this weekend yet. If you need fashion advice, I'm not the guy to follow.
You can see Dirish has passed her first handstand pirouette, going for her second rep now. And Jess Skinner's onto the strict wall-facing handstand push-ups.
Now, Matt, this was a newly introduced standard this year in the quarterfinals. Did you give it a go?
In the quarterfinals, I haven't given this a go yet, in competition this year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to complete the full, open and quarterfinals this year, according to RX standard. But I do remember after a couple of handstand, wall climbers, wall walks.
Yeah.
I'm losing my words here. Wall walks, that standard was kind of bound to set in pretty soon after that. And we saw it in the games last year.
So it's interesting, Matt, because, I might sound like a bit of a rookie here, but I'd love to get your view on this. What the wall-facing handstand does is, although the stimulus from a traditional handstand perspective might be slightly different, you actually can't keep this. And if you do, it's really difficult because then you don't get to recreate that tripod movement at the bottom.
You can't keep this at all, but you will notice how much midline tension there is in this movement compared to that of the handstand push-up, where you can kind of get away a little bit more with like an arched kind of figure. And right here you can see Maxine Smith moving that way and just breaking that midline tension, and you can just see how much kind of strain it's putting that lower back under in that position.
So Matt, it's a tricky one, right? Because I mean, as we were watching Maxine there for a second, like realistically, given the fact that you need to complete a wall walk to initiate the movement, chipping away at this at singles is super detrimental to the success of this workout.
But so taxing on the shoulders. So, I mean, if you've got the shoulders for it, for sure, go for multiple reps. If you don't,
for sure,
you're going to be doing a lot of wall walks.
So many, because at this rate, and there we go, your first heat in the bag.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is day number 3 of the Rebel Renegade Games out here in Johannesburg, South Africa. And we are on to heat number 2 for individual woman test 6. 20 overhead squats, a 500-meter row, 3 handstand walk pirouettes, and then into the hardest part of this workout, it seems, the 2 seated legless rope climbs. 20 strict chest-to-wall handstand push-ups, and then straight back down the ladder. A 16-minute time cap for these ladies. We saw 2 ladies go unbroken in the set of 20 overhead squats in the first heat.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because, again, Matt, we've got no tangible data to prove what the correct method is right now to approach this workout with. Naturally, without having experienced the full end-to-end experience myself, I'm going to need to assume that breaking things up from the get-go might be the recipe for success here.
Yeah, just in the previous heat, we saw the 2 ladies that did go unbroken kind of came undone a little bit towards the rope, but again, was that a strategy on their behalf to get there as fast as possible because they knew that's where they might get stuck?
Yeah, it's a great question, Matt. Let's talk about the overhead squat for a second, right? So I'm not sure if you, like myself, are a lover of the overhead squat.
I love the overhead squat.
As do I. I'm just thinking about this, though, if I'm one of those athletes on the floor. Would I want to, 1, drop the barbell, or do smaller sets, drop it on the back rack, and possibly find a little bit of rest in the middle?
I don't know. I think the back rack resting approach, you're still sitting with time and attention.
Sure.
And coming into this workout, resting almost, getting a full bout of rest as opposed to taking shorter bouts of rest with, still a 56 kilogram bar resting on your back. Right now on the screen, you got Max Klein-Smith, Thea Kruger over here, opting for 20 unbroken reps and just chipping away at a 500-meter row.
Max Klein-Smith now joining her on the rower. So we were having this discussion the other day, Matt. The snatch and the overhead squat, 2 very unforgiving lifts in the sense that it takes just as much effort to fail it as it does to succeed in it.
I think for me, and I've said it to a number of athletes, the overhead squat is single-handedly the most physical demanding movement that you could do. If you just pick up a bar, chuck it overhead, and do a squat with it, there is every single muscle in your body working.
Absolutely. What I love about it as well, and I guess depending on the type of athlete you are, sometimes you could rationalize this with the front squat, funny enough. These 2 movements tend to expose the weakness in your system.
Most definitely. And a lot of the time, shoulder mobility and ankle mobility are the first 2 that are going to pop up when we are talking overhead squats.
Absolutely, and really also midline stability.
Just there on your screen now, the first female athlete getting off the rower, that's Mary Jameson. You might have heard earlier in the weekend, your oldest female competitor, still qualifying to throw down with the youngsters in the individual field. Mary Jameson, 40 years of age, and a legend of the sport.
Yeah, she's been here from day one, much like we've discussed the impact that Jason Smith has had on the sport. Being a, let's call it a first-generation CrossFitter, Mary Jameson, one of those too, Matt.
As we can see now, a couple more ladies just finishing off that initial 500-meter row. And just 4 minutes down on the clock.
You'd have heard our colleague on the floor there refer to Mary Jameson as Scary Mary. There was no insult. It is actually her handle on Instagram.
That is her, Scary Mary on Instagram. Mary Jameson, owner of NCC CrossFit. Just having to point out there to Mary's right-hand side on your screen, Laura Hume making easy work of those first 2 handstand pirouettes. And right over here, focus now in lane number 1. There she goes, Laura Hume, the first lady across the line after her 3 handstand pirouettes. As we get set up now for this handstand, for this rope climb. Ingi Hossam Aldin, just over there in lane 2 to the right, and Alzan Khosen right over here in the center of your screen.
It's an interesting question, Matt, coming in the chat. Is the rope climb height the normal height? The answer to your question is no. And here's why. You'll see as the athletes get closer to the top of the rope, both hands need to be above the line. And with the new standard, they need to pull just as long without getting the jump in the beginning. So you'll notice there, what you'd usually have to do is touch the top of the rig. Now you need to have both hands over the top of the white line, come down and demonstrate control having both hands underneath the white line. Great example of a brilliant rep here.
An absolutely beautiful rep coming through from Laura Hume. You might think she is a fan of the gymnastics, judging by those pirouettes. Right now on your screen, Alzan Khosen going for her first rep. And once again, if you just joined, the standard a little different. The seated legless rope climb, as you can see, the feet have to be off the floor on the way up and down.
Interesting to note as well with Laura Hume, who's just been able to demonstrate today just incredible gymnastic prowess, opting for the kip from the get-go. So she could have gone with a straight, strict legless rope climb from the bottom to the top mat, but I think she's being very intelligent about how much energy she's expending.
Yeah, the amount of fatigue that you're putting on your core right over there, just holding the ulcer the whole way up. Or as you can see there, Ingi almost just naturally reverting to the clamp of the legs, but getting warned by a judge at the top of the rope. Sophia Benani now on your screen.
Turning 19 yesterday, you could see her opting, unfortunately losing that rep. Hume now going for her final rope climb in this segment of the workout. Matt, just look at how comfortable she is on that rope, but more than that.
Oh, you can see those hands are starting to slide down the rope from the top. We saw a very similar thing now, right there with Sophia on your screen.
Matt, again, deferring to you as a coach now. You've got an athlete who's just failed a rope climb. What's your advice to them right now?
You need to just be recovering as much as you can right now in this. And it's very easy. We see it very often where athletes come to this stage and start getting flustered and just going and going and going to try and get that rep as fast as possible. And all that's doing is just more damage. Taking a longer breather, making sure that you can try and recover. I mean, look at that. That is one pull away for Alzan Khosen.
This is a heartbreaking workout.
That is heartbreaking. Those hands were pretty much touching each other and touching the rope at the same time. And just sliding down from the top. Here we go. Sophia on your screen now. Sophia Benani coming out of CrossFit Marbella in Spain.
Ingi now, just for interest's sake, now pivoting over to those handstand walks, Matt. Sorry, the handstand push-ups, rather.
Ingi Hossam Aldin, your first female athlete, completing all 3 of those legless rope climbs, seated legless rope climbs, and moving into these the set of 20 strict chest to wall handstand push-ups.
And onto this new handstand push-up standard that we've seen come through this year in the quarterfinal segment of the game's journey.
Mary Jameson right over there in the middle of your screen, getting her way through her 3 handstand pirouettes.
Unfortunately not able to rack it up. Matt Klainsmith currently still busy with her 3rd pirouette, Matt.
And right over there, looking at this top view, now in the center of your screen, Ingi Hossam Aldin. A couple of reps left. And down here on your screen right now, we've got Jessica Thompson. Jessica Thompson coming out of CrossFit Shapesmiths out in London, the United Kingdom. Originally born in Zimbabwe. Jessica Thompson with 5 strict handstand push-ups left.
Ingi looking to wrap hers up as well now, Matt.
And Ingi Hossam Aldin has finished with her handstand push-ups. Ingi also out of CrossFit 111 out in Egypt. Over here on your screen, you can see Lisa Marie Guillaume and Coralie Fantonda, both just struggling to get their first handstand pirouette. 2 reps left for Jessica Thompson. And here we go back to lane number 1. Alzaan Goosen just really struggling to get that 2nd rep.
And so now we're witnessing some synchro handstand pirouettes.
Must be the outfits.
Must be. They clearly coordinated this. Oh, we've got one.
And that was Coralie Fantonda just getting her first rep. Right over here on your screen now, we've got Ingi Hossam Aldin moving her way through her 2nd set of 2 seated legless rope climbs. So close to the bottom, and she gets the rep.
That was a clincher.
Jeez.
That was an absolute clincher.
He completed with both reps, it seems.
Mary Jameson having gotten one in the bag already, Matt. Just off camera in the previous scene.
Here we go, Mary Jameson right in the middle of your screen once again. Mary Jameson out of Northcliffe CrossFit. Taking a look over there in lane 4, we could just see a kick up for the first attempt of the handstand pirouette. That was Thea Kruger.
So something interesting to note, Matt. Matt Klainsmith struggling initially with the pirouettes, but the moment she got out of the pirouettes, she blasted those rope climbs. Ingi going back for her 2nd seated legless rope climb.
And this is Ingi's last rep to be able to get back into those handstand pirouettes. Mary Jameson now.
Come on, Mary. Come on, Mary. Almost there. Just
As
show
you can
some
see
daylight
here.
at the bottom of that white portion of the rope. So close.
And Mary
Let's
gets
go.
the rep. I feel like we're going to see something special in these handstand push-ups from Mary Jameson.
This is the athlete that definitely has made it in the furthest in this workout today, Matt. Let's see if she can rack this one up. Come on, Ingi. There you go. Control on the way down.
And she gets
she's got
the
it.
rep. Ingi through her second legless rope climb.
Just when you thought your poor forearms were going to get a rest, back to the handstand push-ups.
We've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock here. This is the first workout of the weekend with varying time caps for the female and the men's field. The females got a 16-minute time cap. And just having a look down there, we could hear the crowd going a little bit wild. It seems like Coralie van Tonde finishing off her second handstand pirouette. Mary Jameson now and onto her strict chest to wall handstand push-ups. And you can see, Kent, the shoulders at this stage are just smoked.
Absolutely, Matt. This is just an absolutely devastating workout on the shoulders.
Okay, Ingi on her way back.
She traversed through these so easily in the first round, but you've got to consider the cumulative fatigue coming into this.
"45 seconds left on the time cap for the ladies in heat number 2. Test 6 going on at the moment. You can see the breakdown of the workout right at the top of your screen. And the focus now on the left side of the screen with Ingi Hossam Aldin. She has finished her second set of seated rope climbs and is on her way back with the handstand walk pirouettes. There you go, getting her
She's
first
got one in the
rep.
bag. Let's go, Ingi, one more. There's not enough time for that.
And Coralie just failing another rep over here. But putting in a full effort, those
This one's
two
for the
ladies.
crowd. This one's for the crowd. Ingi's doing this just for the crowd, and she got it done, man.